Hello, Prudential Sales Executives, for our video message of the week. All right, our message this week is entitled Visualize Your Market Area and Your Zip Code Area. Now, I've always believed when you can visualize something, you can be more effective because you can see it in your mind's eye. And that's really what our message is about today. All right, I want you to think about, when you think about the area that you sell, do you kind of sometimes think, well, it almost feels like you sell an entire state? That's a problem, okay? And I know I'm exaggerating with that, but the key is you got to have a visualized mindset of where you're selling. And I want to give you some tips along these lines. First of all, a good exercise for you to do will be to evaluate where your closings are. Sometimes you'll say to yourself, well, I know I sell in this area of town or this zip code. And when you really look at the aspects of your closings, you might have some surprises. So step one, and you might be right too, is evaluate it. Look at where your actual closings are occurring. Secondly, I want you to ask yourself a question is, where do I want to specialize? So first of all, you've looked at what's actually going on, and the other piece of this is, where do I want to specialize and why? And if you're looking at a specific area of town, you've got to ask yourself, does that tie in to my specific business plan going forward? The other question I want you to ask yourself is, who else sells in this area? Not so much that you're worried about competition, because like we always talk about, we're our own competition. Not that we're ignoring outside sales executives, but we want to know who else is selling in our areas. And one of the main reasons is, especially for you who are thinking about or already building a brokerage within a brokerage, or what a lot of people call a team. The key with that is now when you visualize, let's use a zip code for this specific example. You've got your zip code. You know where you want to sell. You know the other 4, 5, 6 agents that really do somewhat more than a few sales in there. They do somewhat of a substantial business in that same zip code. Now you know you can basically focus on those sales executives to recruit them over to your brokerage within a brokerage. Now think about that. See how it's all visualizing. You're getting it's getting set in your mind's eye. If I get 2 or 3 of those people, sometimes maybe one person that's selling, now I'm controlling that zip code. So now you are doing more business in that specific area, okay, or that specific zip code than any other sales executive. That's something that you can talk about. Now, I want you to look, when you search up of where your closings are, I want you to know your market share in that area. Okay? You want to know, okay, this is the market share I have in the zip code, and where do you want that market share to be? I want you to know the demographics and as much information within that zip code, okay? Know the streets, okay? Be cognizant of them. Some of you might say, well, I don't do the whole zip code, but I do between X, Y, A, and B. And this is where I do the bulk of my business. You want to really focus on that, okay? Because there's a key with this is, not only will you know the demographics, the projects, the developments, etc., what's going on in that area, but what's really powerful about this, now you can package your presentation. And so when you say to yourself, I am going to capture everything in this specific area, that's powerful, because now when you're sitting in front of a buyer who's looking in that area, or in front of a seller who's thinking about marketing their home, who better to work with than you? Because you're not assuming and you're not generalizing. You've got a targeted focus of, this is my area and I know everything that's going on in my area or zip code. Have a great week, everybody. Be productive. Bye-bye.